Okay, I think we'll let's get started. I know we got quite a bit to try to get through today, so we'll get started. So just a reminder that this session is recorded, and we can make this recording available after the fact. And welcome to our second Tech Talk of the year. And today we'll have a pretty unique product with RealWear, kind of an introduction to RealWear. And we called this topic remote assistance with RealWear because, kind of an easy use case for this product is providing remote assistance with it. So in a few moments, we'll let Ken Samuels. So our guest panelist today will be Ken Samuels, who's an account executive with RealWear, who is actually located in Houston. So we'll let Ken take it over in just a few moments and introduce RealWear and show what the product is and how it can be used. But first, a few introduction slides as usual. And first, I should actually introduce myself for those who don't recognize my voice. My name is Wayne Welk, and I'm an automation specialist with the Reynolds Company in New Orleans. And we have, Tech Talks. Pretty much we're doing 2 a month for the first quarter at least, and then 1 user group a month as well. So our schedule is posted here. Our full schedule is available at reynoldsonline.com, as well as all our archives are available there too. So we definitely invite you to go to reynoldsonline.com and keep up with all the latest and greatest. So we'll have a bit of a break next week. We won't have a session next week, and we'll pick up on the 10th with a tech talk on microobjects to micro migration solutions, and then a user group the week after that on the 17th with Panduit, and the rest of the schedule is here. So before we jump over to RealWear and to Ken, part of our description for this session was Vuforia Chalk and using Vuforia Chalk with the RealWear device to provide remote assistance. So we wanted to take a very quick, refresher on Chalk or reminder, or those who perhaps are new and haven't seen Chalk yet, just to kind of explain what it is. We did do a full tech talk on Chalk last year, so we'll invite you to kind of go back and watch that session and get a much deeper dive on it. We also invite you to reach out to any of your local automation specialists or account managers with the Reynolds Company, and we'll be more than happy to talk in more detail on Chalk. But this topic makes a lot of sense, and the Chalk product makes a lot of sense in this discussion because, as we all know, the world has changed in the last year. The paradigm shift has already probably started, right, for the need to do remote assistance. There's a skills gap out there. A lot of technical products that perhaps the end users, technicians on site maybe aren't as skilled or knowledgeable about some of the things that go on inside those panels or machines. And a lot of times when you're talking about OEM pieces of equipment, the OEM could be halfway around the world that they made that machine or whatever. So even just the sheer logistics of getting an expert on site, was a challenge before the pandemic, and obviously since COVID, that has just become an even harder challenge. So the idea is, take the technology and use technology to our advantage and have that remote expert be able to sit at his desk or her desk and connect with the technician in the field and actually see what the technician is doing. And again, that's not anything necessarily new that came about in the last year, but what is unique about PTC Vuforia Chalk is that in addition to being able to have a video connection with the technician in the field, you could see what that technician is seeing, but you can also make annotations through Chalk or chalk marks in Chalk, and actually annotate for that person, maybe instructions or things to do, such as in this picture here, the expert perhaps drew a circle around, the red button, press the red button. And what makes Chalk unique and maybe different than, say, just doing a FaceTime call is that as the as the technician moves his device around, the chalk marks will stay anchored in space in that location. So PTC is an expert, has superior technology when it comes to augmented reality. And as the technician can move around, when he comes back to this machine or this button, those annotations are still anchored in that space, so they're not gone. So you can kind of go off and do something, come back, and then all the marks are there to remind you what to do. Um, the other kind of nice thing about Chalk is that it's a very little to no infrastructure required to actually do this. It's basically a smartphone app that the technician can run on his or her smartphone or tablet. And then the just like we connected to the Zoom call today, you kind of connect to a Chalk session over the internet, uh, and you got the one-to-one connection with the video, and then the expert can make his annotations on the screen. So no software to install, no servers, very little uh, infrastructure other than some bring your own devices perhaps, and a very low cost to do this. So one last slide on Chalk, because again, don't want to take too much time away from Ken, is that another advantage of this, perhaps over doing such like a FaceTime call or something, is that you get the session summary after the fact. So not only do we have the ability to write on the screen and make those annotations, but now we can actually get these points of interest during the session automatically stored, and we can save these so that when we do hang up with the expert, perhaps we can go back and review in the camera roll, see all these annotated pictures of the machine or the device, and remind me what to go do in case I have to go do something later on after the fact. All right, so again, invite you to reach out to your specialist. Again, we just want to kind of remind and refresh on Chalk. Reach out to your specialist for information, and if there is interest in Chalk, you can request a 30-day trial license for it. So I'm going to turn over to Ken. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, let him take control. And as he does that, just know that Chalk is a product, is a software product that can work on the RealWear device, which Ken's going to show up right now. So RealWear is the hardware piece, Chalk will be the software piece, and they do mate up quite nicely. So with that, I'll let Ken introduce himself and take it from here.
Hello, how you guys doing? I just want to make sure before I start, can everybody see my screen clearly?
Yes, Ken, we got.
All right. As he mentioned, my name is Ken Samuels. I'm the account executive for RealWear, and I am located in Houston, Texas. I'll share my contact, or they'll share my contact with you if you do have any questions outside of this to reach out to me directly, or you can funnel all your questions directly to these guys. But just to get started, RealWear, we were founded in 2016, and we're headquartered in Vancouver, Washington, which is just outside of Portland, Oregon. We are known as a knowledge transfer company that provides in-field training to help improve safety and increase productivity at work. RealWear, we're a global leader in AR hardware technology. We like to say our products are purpose-built for the industry, and we have built the first hands-free ruggedized mounted wearable device. Uh-oh. And this is the actual device right here. This is what we call the HMT1. And what I want you to think of this, and what it stands for, is head mounted tablet. And that's exactly what it is. This is a voice activated wearable tablet that you can wear on your head. It's the first of its kind, and it's for industrial workers. It's adaptable. It has an adjustable display that moves out the way when not needed. The boom arm, as you can see, moves and adjusts 6 ways, that flips from left to right. It fits all head sizes. It's PPE compatible. It's fully rugged. And I'll go through a little bit more of these features a little later. It does have a camera on it that adjusts 30 degrees left and right. The camera is 1080i for you guys, and the battery life on this thing is 8 to 10 hours out of the box. Out of the box, it also comes with 16 gigabytes of storage, but you can add additional storage. The speakers on these things are very well, but it also does have a head jack for those loud environments. If you need to hear a little bit more, you can plug some earphones in there too as well. Right now, we have a little over 30 devices deployed globally, 1,300 customers, and 200 plus apps that are specifically optimized for the HMT1, and we're supported in 14 different languages. As I mentioned earlier, this thing is 100% hands-free, voice activated, which again, I'll show you a little later. The unmatched noise cancellation with the four speakers, and it does have powerful audio. The outdoor display on this thing, when you're looking at the screen, it appears as a 7-inch tablet, and it's viewable day, night. One thing that you do want to do is you want to make sure that you have it in the proper line of sight, and it's PPE compatible, so you can wear it on just about any hard hat, bump cats. You can have safety glasses on, all that good stuff. And it runs on Android 8.1, but we will be moving to Android 10 at the end of this quarter. The device is waterproof, dust tight, drop proof, built ruggedly, meaning that you can use this thing in just about any environment. We do have a lot of folks that use it in manufacturing buildings. We have a lot of these things deployed on oil rigs globally. So out in Africa, it works well in the heat, and it works well in rigid areas too, up in Wisconsin or Canada, wherever you guys may be. So if that's one of the concerns, you don't have no concern about it. We purposely built this thing to withstand any amount of weather. As mentioned earlier, we do have different types of use cases, and the big use case that you'll see is what's called remote mentoring. And what remote mentoring is, you have somebody that enable workers in the field to get assistance from experienced technicians or mentors via enhanced two-way video call and experience where the mentor can see and hear from the worker's point of view. So as he mentioned earlier, Vuforia Chalk is one of the applications that you can use for that type of remote mentoring. Microsoft Teams, which has a fully optimized app, is one of the big plays that a lot of folks are using as well. Document Navigator is just exactly what it sounds like. You can put all types of JPEGs or send any types of schematics out to those workers out in the field so they can see what they need to fix, how they need to fix it, and get the job done and mark it as done right there on the fly. The same with digital workflow. A lot of folks are using the QR codes to mark jobs and begin jobs. And you can use that as well. This thing is, as I said, it's an Android tablet. So just about any application that you can think of, you can put on here. And if not, we are willing to work with that vendor to get an app that's optimized for the device. So what I'll do is I'll stop sharing momentarily so I can prepare to show you the HMT1. There it goes. And are you guys seeing that?
Yes.
All right, I apologize. So what you're seeing is actually what I'm looking at right now in the screen of the HMT1. What I'll do is I'm going to give you a brief overview of the demo of what this thing is going to look like. And so essentially this is it. This is the HMT1. And as I mentioned before, HMT stands for head mounted tablet. And that's how you should think of this device. It's a wearable, ruggedized, voice controlled tablet. It runs on Android 8.1, as I mentioned, but we will be moving to Android 10 at the end of this quarter. And as I mentioned before, we have over 200 apps that are specifically optimized for this device, meaning that our software partners created them specifically to be used with voice controls over the HMT. So right here, what you're looking at is the display screen. And this is exactly what I'm looking at in my display screen. Out of the box, it comes with these three programs loaded on the home screen. This thing is totally customizable. So as you can see, it has the RealWear logo on here. If you guys decide to move forward with it and purchase it, you can put your logo on here as well. And you can put up to 5 programs here on the home screen. So out of the box, it comes with my programs, my camera, and my files. And as you can see, I'm saying those I'm saying those syntax right now, and there is nothing happening with the HMT1. So what this thing actually looks for is a slight pause when you're talking to move to the next screen, so to speak. And the way to move to the next screen is you're essentially just saying what you're seeing on the screen, anything that's in the caps. So I'll start with my files. And as you see it move to the next screen. And what I'm doing now is I'm just slightly moving my head from left to right. And that's how I'm getting this to move on the screen for you guys. My documents. And as you can see, as we spoke about earlier, you can have all kinds of JPEGs loaded on here, or you can send them directly to the device while the folks are out in the field. So when those guys are out in the fields trying to perform a job, they'll get these schematics, so to speak. And as you can see, the JPEGs have these long names. So if the worker doesn't want to say one of these long names, they can also say one of the numbers that are bubbled in the right-hand corner. Select item 4. And it'll take me to that schematic. And as you can imagine, this thing is very, very hard to see, but you can zoom it in for those folks to see what job that they need to perform. Zoom level 3. And now it's zoomed in, and all they need to do is slightly move their head to find wherever it is on the schematic, whatever job that they're performing and need to be fixed out in the field. And then from there, they can freeze the window, as I mentioned before, just by saying one of the commands that's at the bottom of the screen that's in caps. Freeze window, freeze window. And now the window is frozen and they can complete their job. One thing that I do want to point out is the device has a list of global commands, meaning that if somebody was to ever get lost throughout this device, one of the commands that they would definitely need to remember would be show help. And it'll pull up a list of global commands that you can use throughout the device, no matter what application that you're using. And it'll take you throughout the device. So if you need to navigate home or go to my controls or mute your microphone, you can do any of that. Navigate home. So the next thing that I'll show you is the camera portion of it. My camera. And now you're seeing what's on my desk right now. And to take a photo is as simple as saying, take the photo. If you want to record something, you can record a video and send it off. Take photo. And you can preview. And now that photo that I just taken, you can actually see and make any edits to it. One thing that I do want to mention is that this thing is saved, the actual photo is saved on the HMT. And as I mentioned before, it comes with 16 gigabytes of storage out of the box. You can add additional storage. You can add up to 256 gigabytes of additional storage with an SD card. And you can program this to save all the photos and anything that you want directly on to the SD card instead of onto the device. Delete. Confirm. And it's the same way for recording the video. If you need to change any type of exposure levels or turn the flash on, you can do that with both the camera and the video. Navigate home. And the last thing I want to show you is just the different programs that you can load on this thing. As I mentioned before, this thing is an Android device. So think of it as an Android tablet that your kids play with. So you can load just about anything on here, but you can also lock this thing down in the event that you're worried about some workers putting some inappropriate stuff on here. So if you only want the Vuforia Chalk app on here, you can configure that to where that's the only device that, the only application that they can have on this device. And you can actually put it on the home screen as well, so they're not navigating throughout the device. My programs. And as you can see, I've got all different types of stuff here for demo purposes. I've got Netflix, I've got all kind of apps that I can put on here. So if you guys are a Microsoft Teams shop, you can actually log into any meetings out in the field, Microsoft Teams, again with Zoom or Expert on Demand. Excuse me, navigate home. And that is essentially the HMT1 in a 5 to 10 minute demo. Obviously, there's there's more things that we can do on this thing, but from a high level, this is the HMT1, and I definitely appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to speak with us and letting me show you our device.
Okay, and then also, I guess you should mention that there is also a Class 1 Div 1 rated version of that wearable tablet.
Yes, we do have a Class 1 Div 1. There is no functionality differences between the two devices, between our, what we call the Class 1 Div 1 is what we call our intrinsically safe device, and our regular HMT1. The battery life is still the same, 8 to 10 hours. And obviously that's going to change depending on the type of applications that you're powering and using on it. One of the big things, one of the big differences between the two is there is not a hot swappable battery on the intrinsically safe model for obvious reasons. And that's really it as far as the functionality on it. Everything else, they operate just the same.
And so from I guess kind of going back to the remote assistance use case, it would be very similar to kind of how everybody connected to this Zoom call today. You would have to hit the tablet on have the tablet on. You can connect to a remote session via Chalk, Teams, Zoom, and then
Correct.
You're seeing on the screen, or you're sharing your camera to the person back on the other end, and perhaps you're seeing through your screen what the person is sharing with you. Just like we're sharing screens today. So that's how you kind of collaborate hands-free, which is obviously very useful for working in the field to not be holding the phone up while you're trying to turn a screwdriver, I suppose. Okay, well, I guess perhaps that was it as far as demonstration goes. I guess we'll open the floor for any questions through chat here for a moment. All right. So Ken, I don't know if you could see that question there, but any, I guess, any minimum internet speed for this to work on?
No, there is no minimum internet speed. So this thing connects via two ways, either Wi-Fi or a Bluetooth connection. So if you're in areas that have a spotty connection, you can use your cell phone as a hotspot or carry around a Wi-Fi, or there's other solutions or other partners out there that have some low bandwidth connectivity type of things that you connect to the HMT1 when you're out in the field.
I guess there was a question there on price points as well.
Yeah, there's a difference in price between the regular HMT, what we call, and the intrinsically safe. We let the partners do that. We don't quote anybody directly. We go through our partners and a distribution model for that. And yes, I'm not understanding the question on the VSAT link in the 128 kilobytes. Can you expand on that, please?
I guess perhaps using a satellite.
I think he's trying to say what's the lowest speed or the typical speed that he's seeing with a satellite link is 128 kilobits a second.
That I'm not aware of. What I can do is set up a call with one of our engineers, if you would like, and they're better equipped to answer that type of question. But we do have these things deployed everywhere, as you're mentioning, offshore boats, oil rigs out in the middle of the Gulf, oil rigs out in the Atlantic Ocean. Really depends on your company's infrastructure. As I mentioned, there are some places that have low bandwidth for connectivity, and they work with some of our partners to rectify those sorts of things.
should be noted that Chalk does actually have a low bandwidth mode
Right.
as well. So if you're using
Right.
the Chalk application, so it might be more somewhat some of the application running on the tablet as well. But so yes. All right, great, good questions. Ed, I'll get with you after. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll. There's no additional questions at the moment. We'll wrap up before our time, which is great. We usually try to stay under 30 minutes. So Ken, I appreciate you taking the time to demonstrate this. We should note that Ken has done several virtual demonstrations, just kind of like we did today, but we can do this, with at any time, and can definitely go into a little bit more of an in-depth discussion and demonstration. So again, please reach out to your local specialist or account manager. We can definitely set up a good demonstration if you're interested in seeing or learning more. All right, and with that, last thing perhaps. Oh, okay, so with that, Ken, once again, I thank you for the time.
Thank you guys.
And thank everybody for joining us today.